So my home state of Pennsylvania might become the 38th state to pass right to try legislation. Right to try just means that terminally ill patients are allowed to try experimental drugs not approved by the FDA that may treat their illness. House Bill number 45, known as the Right to Try Act, passed the House unanimously and just recently passed the Senate unanimously as well, with some amendments. So now it'll go back to the House with those amendments to be approved. And that means that Pennsylvania is one step closer to passing right to try legislation. So I zoomed through the bill quick. It's not too long, only 7 pages. Link is in the description if you want to read it. I do want to read the very beginning just so you have a good of understanding of exactly what it is. Towards the end, it does seem to protect. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I can't read these very well. That's why I recommend you read these for yourself. But it does seem to protect physicians and healthcare providers if they do allow their patients to try these experimental treatments. That's my biggest concern as to, like, if it gets passed, are there any other barriers of any type that'll stop this from actually happening in the private sector or other legislation? But it seems like it'll go through. According to a Philadelphia article, actually in February, federal right to try legislation that would bolster state authority was introduced in the House and Senate. It is backed by President Trump and Vice President Pence, who, as Indiana's governor, signed that state's statute. So it seems that even though federal does overrule state in this case, they might take a step back on that, and we're getting a step closer. Or at least Pennsylvania is when I say we. So I just want to read the beginning of this bill here so you know what it's about, just the first page or so. An act providing for the use of investigational drugs, biological products, and medical devices for terminally ill patients. The General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania hereby enacts as follows. Section 1 is just the title, Right to Try Act. Section 2, Legislative Findings and Intent. The General Assembly finds and declares as follows: the process of approval for investigational drugs, biological products, and medical devices in the United States by the Federal Food and Drug Administration protects future patients from premature, ineffective, and unsafe medications and treatments over the long run, but the process often takes many years. Patients who have a terminal illness do not have the luxury of waiting until an investigational drug, biological product, or medical device receives final approval from the Federal Food and Drug Administration. Patients who have a terminal illness should be allowed to attempt to pursue the preservation of their lives by accessing available investigational drugs, biological products, and medical devices. The use of available investigational drugs, biological products, and medical devices is a decision that should be made by the patient with a terminal illness in consultation with the patient's treating physician and in the patient's healthcare team if applicable. The decision to use an investigational drug, biological product, or medical device should be made with full awareness of the potential risks, benefits, and consequences to the patient and the patient's family. And the rest is, I'll leave the rest in the description, but that's the gist of it. So actually, part of what I read was the only amendment. I mentioned earlier that there was an amendment in the Senate that will then go to the House to be approved. All it states that is, back in Section 2, Part 3, it says patients who have a terminal illness should be allowed to attempt to pursue the preservation of their lives. The original bill just said patients who have a terminal illness have a fundamental right to attempt to pursue the preservation of their lives. So not much of a difference, just a bit of wording there. But overall, as far as I can tell, it's the same bill. So this is a good sign. It looks like it'll be approved. The nice thing about right to try legislation is all it is just saying that, hey, patients can try this if they want. They don't have to. We're not going to have total anarchy here. It's just if they want to try it, they are allowed to. But let me know what you think about this bill in the comments. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.